There is a secret power in Monster Hunter. Well, okay, it's not so much as a secret power as just kind of an underrated armor skill. Oh, it has die-hard fans, and I mean die-hard fans, but it is an armor skill you don't really see all that often, which is a shame because it can be really fun. But it forms the core of the challenge run I'm going to burn down in this video, and I call it the Bush Tucker Babe. Which admittedly sounds more suggestive than it really is, especially to non-Australians, I imagine, but don't overthink it, alright? It's completely innocent, I promise. Now let's be clear, if when I say challenge run you're expecting some kind of nutbag hardcore gimmick like, can you beat Monster Hunter Wilds with only 1 HP? Or, can you beat Monster Hunter Wilds without using a weapon? Or, can you beat Monster Hunter Wilds but every time I get hit something intrusive happens to my exit tube? Well, this challenge run is none of that. It's not explicitly or especially hardcore and doesn't need any special preparation or mods or whatever. The idea is simply this. What if the only consumables you were permitted to use were fresh picked in the wild? No crafting, no recipes, not even something as basic as mixing honey into herb juice to make a max potion. The only thing you're allowed to do is gobbling nuts, smushing bugs into your face, and most importantly, munching on raw mushrooms. That secret underrated skill I spoke of in my opening lines, it's Mushroomancer if you hadn't figured that out by now. Mushroomancer. See, in my main save file, I just built an end-game team support set based around Mushroomancer, Speed Eater, and maxed out wide range, and teamed it with a heavy health support hunting horn. I call it the Whambulance. It can, surprisingly easily, keep a whole team alive, healthy, and thriving with buffs constantly, and deal out big bonk damage. It is super fun to play. I made a set just like it for Rise and had a blast with it, but I waited very deliberately till I was deep into endgame to even start building it, all the while using Nutta's material retrieval farm, which you don't even get until high rank, and completing a bunch of side missions to create a huge stockpile of mushrooms especially for it. But playing around with the Whambulance build got me thinking, how practical would it be to become a mushroom munching maniac from hour 1 of the game? So I made a plan, and I got to work. So the rules are simple, and they are thus. Only fresh-picked, wild harvested materials allowed. Only raw ingredients for healing and buffing consumables. Even camp meals would only use raw meat I'd gathered myself, and whatever scraps of seasoning ingredients I'd get from quest rewards, so a few mushrooms here and there, a bit of cheese, some eggs maybe. The start of the game would be tricky for all this, because you can't get access to the Mushroomancer skill at all until the 3rd major monster fight, Kongalala. And until you get Mushroomancer, you can't eat raw mushrooms. So until then, for any healing I needed, I'd have to rely on whatever potions I started with, or I could gather on the way. Potions, in my mind, would count as a raw ingredient anyway, as it's literally just herb juice smooshed into a jar. One raw, wild-gathered ingredient that fits the rules. Still though, the instant I got access to Mushroomancer, I would switch away from that and go to shrooms only, in the spirit of the challenge. Everything else, every other kind of crafted support, healing, or buff material would be eliminated from my standard loadout. So obviously I would have to be very diligent about my gathering if I was going to keep myself stocked up. And alongside this basic rule, I imposed a few others. No armor upgrading at all. Solo everything, no multiplayer, no NPC support hunters, except for those 3 story quests where Olivia's assistance is non-optional. Although I would make an exception to this rule if I needed to repeat a monster for the sake of materials for gear crafting. For that, NPC hunters would be brought on just to speed it up. Oh, and as a little side mission, I wanted to get mid-combat photo mode photographs of every monster I hunted. Not just screenshots, but proper photo mode stuff, just as a little side challenge. So, our combat photographer, Bush Tucker Gatherer Hunter Iris, was on the job. No prizes at all for guessing why I chose that name for the hunter. For a photographer, role-playing character. Also meet her palico, Bresson, a slightly more esoteric reference, but my fellow photo nerds will get it. So, on we go. As you'd expect, the tutorial chatty presented no issues, except for the fact that I immediately forgot about my combat photo mode challenge. But I'll get another chance at chatty in the not too distant future, so fine, I guess. Not like I'm foreshadowing that I messed that up too. I interrogated the locals, arrived at base camp, tried and failed not to stare directly at my blacksmith's chest. Interrogated the locals a little more, tried very hard not to sexually objectify my blacksmith yet again. Failed. Had a meeting that could have been an email, wandered down to my tent and got myself dressed up with some basic starter gear that focused on maxing out the botanist skill to boost the amount of materials I get for my plant and mushroom harvesting. Took my new friend home, gathering what I could along the way, which, considering this bit is on rails, wasn't much. The game kept getting angry at me when I tried to wander off to collect an extra mushroom or two. And on the way home I did Capcom's job for them and smushed a bunch of bugs. Met with the supply guy, whom I will never speak to again in this entire playthrough because buying is not gathering. Gemma gave me the gift of unsmelted metals, with which I upgraded my starter sword as the tutorial commands. And I did not stare at her chest while taking a lovely portrait of her. Look at that. Nice, right?
Perfection.
I rushed to the rescue of small pussycats dealing with some big meat. No, I will not make the joke. Too easy. I'm here to Kentucky Frick the Big Chook, not before I remembered my photography gimmick though. Hooray for me. Except for the part where I found out the photo mode remembers the last settings you had it on, which meant the depth of field I had used for Gemma's lovely portrait made it impossible to get this enormous cockerel in focus. So after I smacked him around into zoning, I fixed all that up, swiped down one of the 5 potions I had on me from herb gathering and took a pretty neat shot, actually, before re-engaging. Not a bad Richard picture if you know what I mean. Villager friend decided to set me up with a long-term lease of his bird Uber. I tried and failed to relate to the child. Met Tom, my very favourite camp cat. For the one and only time we'd interact in this whole playthrough, as his only job is to give me rations, which obviously, as a pre-prepared food, I will not be using. Ever. Next, I knew Chedicabra had to get his backside pushed through his front side because I wanted a new weapon. I obliterated him so fast I was totally locked in and forgot, again, to get my combat photo. So, less of an action shot and more of a fireside rug and a tacky Yellowstone Park cabin photo. It's fine.
Alrighty. Perfection.
Back to the village, stuffed my face with free food you literally can't say no to, and then wandered into the wilderness and snatched up as much as I could. Gotta say, I really do love the slinger gathering in this game. I also took the opportunity to turn a small collection of local herbivores into handy-dandy pocket steaks. For which the plan was to use as very useful out-of-combat healing to help preserve my shrooms. They're slow to consume, especially compared to how quickly we'll be able to gob down a fistful of shrooms, but they do refill health and restore depleted stamina, so very useful to have. Then we all got ready to head to the forest, where I could finally get my hands on the materials I need to make the Mushroommancer gear. A few more gatherables on the path there, but soon a shroom-rich environment would open up to me. The richest, densest collection of mushrooms on any map in the game was now available to me. Found out Gemma is a size queen.
Look at the size.
Set up a new base camp, met my very favourite twink in all of gaming, who is also very autistically goated with his special interest that eclipses even his basic survival instincts. I love Eric. Tried to reassure the child that will solve his whole MacGuffin sooner or later. Got pissy at the game for forcing me to be on foot and on rails when I was trying to gather items on our way to find a new campsite. Enjoyed listening to Eric completely gush about being in nature nerd heaven and talk about moving into the forest forever and being the happiest little entomologist femboy in all of creation.
Dashed off into the trees like a madman. That settles it. I've decided to live here.
And I love in Title Update 2 they introduced a feature where you could make him your main handler. Now all we need is for him to have alternate costumes like they already gave Gemma. I have some thoughts. Eric finds some paralytic poison, and because that is way cooler to him than it is a huge red flag that a predatory monster is very nearby, he wanders off to find some more.
Look, another one. Color hasn't faded. We must be near its nest.
Which, baseline autistic and inevitable consequences. Olivia explodes with anime big sister energy and hauls ass with Eric over her shoulders like it was a small bag of rice. And I get to work smashing some bits off Marina the fluff spider until she zones a couple of times because there's a photo I already have planned for her and she needs to be in a special spot doing a special thing. So we get the second zone and back to her nest. She hangs from the stunning red draped ceiling and I get my shot. I love it. But there's still a job to do, so I bonk and stab until she stops twitching and I start up a tradition of end of hunt sexy dancing. This emote only just arrived with Title Update 2 and, well, over on my main save with my big burly manhunter, it doesn't quite vibe right, at least for me. But Iris pulls it off, eh? I think it kind of helps that she has kind of a vague J-pop or K-pop thing going on with her pale skin and two-tone fashion do. Back to camp now, and I am forced, I tell you, to think about the back of Eric's throat.
Oh, fascinatingly, I can still taste the poison in the back of my throat.
And Lullabrina took a bit longer to hunt than she really should have, in my opinion, so I opt for a basic iron weapon for a touch more base damage. Thanks, Cheddarcabra Club, you were unimpressive. I do not stare at Gemma as she works, and I notice I happen to have enough parts from the last hunt for Marina's weapon too, which, pretty useful this early, as its paralysis status effect is really handy to lock down monsters at least twice per hunt, so I'll make that my primary weapon. Nothing really for me on the armor side just yet, aside from swapping out the gloves for recovery boosting instead of botanist, but that is all about to change. Bring on the stink monkey! But first, the Ewoks frag up my new campsite. They extort me into doing some work for them, but hey, that's fine. I was gonna do it anyway, so joke's on them. Cue the biggest, thickest fart joke in all of modern gaming. In we go. Big Kong and his groupies of Little Kongs present little challenge, frankly, as my new paralysis weapon works nicely, so I just wail on him until he heads back to the nest, where I was hoping to get a nice pose for the combat photo. My new ghillie mantle, another gift from Gemma, comes in pretty useful while I frame up, and hey, success. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. I narrowly miss my big style points finishing move, but the job gets done, and that's all that counts. And now we are finally in the shroom business. And I lucked out. I had exactly enough materials from one hunt to make the head, chest, and legs from the set give me maxed out level 3 Mushroommancer. If you're unfamiliar, there are 3 levels to Mushroommancer. The first level gets you eat blue shrooms and toadstools only. You need level 2 for nitro shrooms and parashrooms. Level 3 lets you gulp down mandragora, devil's blight, and excite shrooms. The blue mushrooms provide the same healing as a potion does, except it's much faster to consume. Toadstools, which boost natural recovery the same way immunizer potions do. Nitro shrooms to boost my attack power, parashrooms to boost defense, mandragora work like mega potions, restoring full health and also increasing your maximum health. Devil's Blight recovers stamina and reduces your stamina depletion, and excite shrooms, well, they trigger any effect from one of the other 6 mushrooms at random. Not something I'll be relying on, but fun. So I spend a minute in the tent setting up a mushroom loadout. No potions, no powders, no drinks, no nothing, just shrooms and nuts and seeds. And some emergency stakes, as discussed previously. Setting up the radial menu was next, and now the challenge was in full fat mode. We are a mushroom-powered maiden of might. The grouchy villager we met earlier was about to become a grouchy afternoon snack for some sandworms, so we intervened. I stepped up, which went super well, and in exactly 0 ways did I fall down a great big hole. So now I have to wallop a big worm, not a euphemism, in a dark cave, not a euphemism. I got worm goo in my hair a few times, not a euphemism, but it's fine. It's good for your skin, actually. I snatched up a bug just minding his business on a nearby log to smoosh into my face for a stamina boost and got to work on the worm again. Rason saved me from consuming a shroom with a well-timed bug smoosh. I did a little brain surgery on the worm and made it vibrate in paralytic misery, taught it a lesson on gravity and tore it a new back hole to finish it all off. Smooth. Elma seemed nonplussed about all this, but it did give me an opportunity for a nice candid shot of her. At this point, I realized I'd forgotten my damn combat shot again. I'll come back to this later. But now we dance! This meeting should have been an email. Big Bear busts the car. I trick his stupid smooshy face into following me into the sandstorm. The big dude loses his damn mind in a Hulk rage. And, well, remember that one time in that Hulk movie? The one hardly anyone likes except me. I love it. Where Hulk just snaps open the skulls of some Hulk dogs? Yeah, that thing happens. It's brutal. Worm Boy and Bear Daddy have another fight, and I take the space to whip out the camera. It took some wiggling and zerping, but I nailed the split-second shot that I was after. Henri Cartier-Bresson would be very proud. As expected, the Alpha Doshaguma being the first real challenge in the game, the first potential wall monster for new players, much like Anjanath in World before him, I finally got smacked hard enough to pop my mushroom cherry, and down goes my first blue shroom. A mount lets me rip open a few wounds, punishment gets stacked when the paralysis lockdown stacks on top of that, a flurry of damage and a knockdown to cap it all off. Wuss tries to run, realizing he's outmatched by the mushroom maniac. I consider, but decide against a photo at this point. Tried a couple more times to get an action shot in yet another turf war, with the lightning in the background and all, but none of them came out worth a damn, and I missed every lightning strike I tried. Shame, but, them's the breaks. I made fairly short work of what was left of the exhausted Doshi's health pool as my food buff runs out, and my health and stamina bars shrink. So I gobbed down a nitro shroom to boost attack, hoping to bloody end this long-ass fight as quickly as possible. The rocks miss, annoying, but his final retreat is stalled with some flash flies. I accidentally bring up the SOS dialogue while trying to chomp a shroom. I really should take that off my radial menu. It was just left there from default when I was customizing. But, I've got no need for it at all. Why is it there? Just to get in my way? I miss with the rocks again, which, annoying! He runs again, which, annoying. Dude is determined, really determined, to get back to his nest. So I outpace him and just wait there for him. But then he's stopped at the entrance by yet another turf war as the hot cockerel decides to mess with my plans. Annoying! A very close call, solved with more blue shroom goodness. And my impatience with Doshi's zerpy swipey shenanigans gets the better of me, but eventually I proc another paralysis and finish him off in a lockdown.
stone.
Some Talioth take a wet poop on my very last nerve by hassling me during my victory dance, but are taught the appropriate behavioral etiquette as they twitch and flail in the background as I celebrate my victory. Time to unwind with Alma, taking a tour of the newly flourishing grasslands. Aren't they gorgeous? We welcome the season of plenty and marvel at the wonders of nature. The villagers are thankful and give me some cheese and mushrooms, so I guess it was all worth it after all. Also now, the Uberbird is truly and officially mine. I can customize it at last. So, let me introduce you to Truffle Shuffle, because truffles are a type of mushrooms, you see. I trade some aloe plants I've been picking up along the way for even more cheese and go out chasing a new lead the villagers gave us about a monster that might be the mystery critter that the child is all freaking out about. Or, something, blah, 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 plot and character development happening in the middle of my hunting. Whatever. I have a quick chat with the second autistically coded character in the game, but this one's the kind of autistic that tends to annoy people by being extremely direct and giving zero craps about social etiquette and just saying what he means and meaning what he says, instead of being, kind of endearing like the type of autistic that Eric is. So, I get it. I get it. And then everything is just unpleasantly moist as I collect more stuff and things to keep my shroom addiction rolling. Have you ever eaten a moist mushroom? I can imagine it's very pleasant. No time to think about that. SOS Flare! To the rescue we go. Now we join Olivia being a Hollywood-class cool sweet badass in real time. And also a very wet Fenboy is there, which, never mind, Big Monster is here to make everything moist all of the time. Now, it just so happens that Uthduna here has a single piece of armor that is part of my build plan. However, I forgot something very important about that, which made me kind of pissy. But give me a second, we'll get there. I give the twink a big hard jerk onto my bird, so to speak, and get locked in on repelling Fatty McSplashyface over there. And it goes okay. Turns out the one level of guard that I have for my sword and shield is just enough to block tank even the largest slams this big fish loves to throw around. So I just kind of suck down the chip damage and stay in close. I lay in wherever I can. I start thinking about how all of this chip damage is doinking my sharpness. Somehow always a mechanic I briefly forget about whenever I switch to a weapon with a shield. Olivia warns me not to get hit as I reposition to sharpen.
Don't get hit now.
And I get carted for the first time in the run. Olivia, you jinxed me. I blame you. And alright, so a smart hunter would have refreshed their meal buffs before such a hunt. So fixing that with my first home-cooked meal in my tent, fresh meat carved in the field, a little bit of cheese from my new villager friends, and my health and stamina are back to boosted levels alongside a little extra defense from the cheese's food skill. Nice. I have a brief regret for not letting the whole eating animation play out, as they're so exquisitely animated in this game, but hey, my pal Olivia is all alone out there. I have to get back to her ASAP. It's a long ride back, as I haven't set up any optional campsites yet, but it does let me gather a few more shrooms along the way, so calling that a win. By the time we get back, Big Boy is resting right below the dam blockage. So hey, how do you like being made more moist than you're prepared for, eh? Haha! Weren't expecting that, were you? Have some water, gigantic water monster. That'll teach you. After the zone and some damage trading, I whip out the camera again, suddenly remembering that was a thing I was doing. I didn't get anything worth a damn really, but we'll come back to that for a better shot later. But hey, at least I remembered this time. Fishboy decides we're more trouble than he wants to deal with today and just buggers off. Moist Twink, the Child, and Velma from Wish are waiting for us, but some commotion calls our attention over to extreme post-traumatic stress reaction. There are no therapists in Monster Hunter Land, only weapons. And the occasional friendly, emotionally sensitive handlers who are good with kids. Excitingly anticipating my new armor piece, I carve up what the white wraith left behind of Duna. I absolutely pay attention to the words and things Gemma is saying and nothing else. And then I remember that the special map alphas in this game do not unlock their full sets of armor until you reach a certain point much later on in the game, which annoying, because I really wanted that recovery up skill to make my mushrooms be more effective at healing. I'll just wait, I guess. Oh well, whatever. So everything's really pretty now, and there's mushrooms everywhere, and life is good. The Ewoks that tried to grift me a while back are kind of useless when we pump them for information about the spooky white monster, but because the plot needs him to, Villager Friend just turns up, and comes in handy yet again.
Where to?
A village among the oil springs. We make the trip there after every sand tide to trade. The stone, bone, and oil folk that dwell there have been perfecting their art since ancient times. A land rich in history might be the perfect place to find answers. Let us travel there together.
Guiding us to the sweatiest, oiliest villages in the game. Also, they love bones. Oily, sweaty bone lovers. There's probably a pun or innuendo there somewhere I can work in, but I don't know. Too easy? So we make our way down to meet the buffest brick crap house dude you'll ever meet in the whole game, and he's a big old sweetheart, because of course he is. My very favourite twink nerd wants to go watch the bone folk.
I want to go observe the bone folk. It's fine, right?
Which, yeah man, I see you. Oil Girl hopped up on Dash Juice Zerbs by. I'm sure that's fine and in no way something we need to worry about later. I stopped by to chat with Eric, who is currently completely obsessed with looking at oiled up bones, which, yeah man, I see you. I have a chat with Werner, who's all locked in on what makes everyone here so very, very hot. I mean, something to do with the gigantic forge, presumably. Then we meet the big chief, who is a little chief, but we get some foreshadowing, and crafting of talismans is finally unlocked at this point. Another key part of my build plan. The glutton's charm to start with, I think, so I can gob down those shrooms even faster, which will be key as we reach a point where I'll start often taking more damage than a single blue shroom can heal up for me. So chopping down 2, still in less time than a single potion would have taken to drink, is going to be clutch. Oh, I hadn't mentioned it yet, but this is of course why I went for sword and shield for this playthrough. It's the only weapon in the game you don't have to sheath before you use a consumable, of course, which makes rapid shroom use all the more practical. So anyway, Alma and I, for plot reasons, plunge into the stink. I get ambushed by some kind of inflatable mosquito mantis, and I rapidly remember I have nothing in my pockets to deal with poison. Uh-oh. There's one item I can use for that. Antidote herb. Like regular potions, it is a single item, wild harvested, just juiced into a bottle, so it does fit within the rules, but you will notice as we go along I continually forget to actually add it to my loadout or collect it wild. So for now I just heal through the tick damage of the poison and wait for it to pass. Or indeed rely on Bresson, my trusty Relico, to sploosh me with the sweet, pale blue bug guts of Pure Wasp. Also rule friendly, of course, because, well, it's a bug. This fight is clumsy, embarrassingly so, but uneventful really. Thanks to the poison, I do burn through more shrooms than I really should have, but eventually I got paralysis to proc, I laid in and triggered the final zone. Brings us to the first sleeping monster of the playthrough. I've been carrying around a couple of bombs since the very start of the game, just waiting on this very moment. They pop for almost 200 damage. Not too bad. A few more good smacks and he goes down for good. And, god damn it, I forgot the combat photo again. No, this won't do. That's no good. I'll come back to it later.
Please, can you help me? Rokul hurt himself when we were running.
Think I twisted something.
Here. This is all my fault. We came here looking for you. The chief told us what happened. Did he change his mind? Wish me luck? He was worried about you. Oh, okay. Great apes! They start to get really worked up when the fire spring is about to happen.
So, back to the village. The forge fails to explode into life. Everyone's pretty bummed about that. Villager friend has to rush home because apparently the weather over there is all balked up as well. Werner shrugs because he doesn't give a crap. And I go back out on the first repeat hunt of the run, determined to get that damn action photo from Popolo, getting more and more annoyed at myself for locking in so hard on the fights that I keep friggin' forgetting to whip out the camera. Spoiler warning, this is not a problem that goes away. When I arrive though, Rompy is already in mid-combat with the local headbutt brigade, who so far have left me alone thankfully, but it's a great opportunity to get the shot I wanted while he's all agitated. I'll wait for my profile pose and got it. Rest of the fight, now I had my eye in for it, was just bullying basically. I just bullied him. I healed once using a bug off the cave wall and a single blue shroom a minute later as I got a bit too cocky. Down he goes and a quick dance. Then back to the tent for a tasty meal of meat and shrooms, which reduce my stamina use. This time, I let the animation play out properly. Lovely. A quick check-in with Gemma. I find the rom-pom gear has wide range, which I would usually team up with Mushroommancer for sharing all of the glorious buffs, but because this is a solo run, I have no use for it today, so moving on. Villager friend returns, and he's all panicked about the storms being back way too soon, so we, the geniuses that we are like, oh, hey, let's put our faces into the middle of this ruinous, destructive weather event, and I don't know, see what's what, I suppose? We probably won't get all our skin torn off by sand or die by thunderstrike, which, well, frankly, it's a cool way to die, but still. But oh hey, surprise, it's the white wraith again, plus new guy, Hazerface. Nata's trauma response deletes his survival instincts as the kid has a full-on brain snap right there. The white wraith goes all vampire, but plot twist, Mother Nature yells clear and zaps Raydell back to fighting form with Gog's own defibrillator.
That doesn't look good. Shoot. It's gone berserk. The village is doomed if we don't stop it. I'll find us a spot to lay low. I'm going too. We've got to get Nata out of here. Got it.
I'll provide support for the time being.
Thanks.
In order to protect the surrounding population, the guild authorizes me to hunt Ray down.
Eric gives me the all clear to kick Ray Ray's teeth in, and away I go. I see if I can tank his swipes, and yep, alright, now we're in business. No problem there. I discover I can also tank a direct hit on the fast release lightning face, so that's pretty bloody action hero of me, right? Chasing it out into the open desert, I find it obliterating a Doshaguma. Perfect moment for an amazing shot. Nope, couldn't quite get there from where I was. Pity. So, the slow dismantling of Thor Magala continues. I fought a bunch of arch-tempered versions recently in my main save file because it's the current event quest, so I don't feel especially threatened here by this low-rank goober, even in my base level armor. Then, another Doshaguma gives me a second chance at the action photo, and I get a banger, figuratively and literally. I chase Ray back to his nest, and my hubris and overconfidence catches up to me, because it always does. I tank a face laser, I tank wing swipes, and guess who isn't paying attention to the stun build-up that's happening? And bam! Second cut of the run. I can't blame Olivia for this one. It's fine though, a quick ride back and 3 minutes later I am victorious. Although my pockets are more light on mushrooms than they really should have been if I'd played a bit smarter. Eric compliments me on my impressive monster, which, yeah man, I see you.
That was one heck of a monster.
The kid, well, he's in trauma mode. Gemma finds some spooky rock, and the puzzle of the weird crap that the story orbits around keeps unfolding. So, we get the oily and sweaty people who love bones to lead us down into some deep caves, where we find more of the spooky rock crap, which is doing whatever spooky rocks do, mostly glowing mysteriously. Trauma Kid gets excited because for the first time he thinks he can find his way back to his people. This all looks a bit familiar. But the rest of us are all like, yay, he's stopped sulking about all the unaddressed and crippling trauma and anxiety that is eating his mind and spirit. Let's go cave diving.
Let's go.
But we hear a strange voice. And Squinty Gemma is weirdly hotter somehow, right? And we spot a Nursilla giving a new friend a big, wild, sticky web hug. Aw, they're friends. Rove seems pretty ambivalent about it all.
Ah, now death greets me with a new mask. Or are you my salvation?
No! We're gonna save you! This is clearly a job for the guild.
I squirm, I struggle, ergo I am. Faced with death, I am finally, truly alive.
Hunter, in order to rescue the Linian and secure the surrounding area, the guild authorizes you to hunt that Nursilla. I'm on it. We'll be back at camp.
I remember immediately about my photo quest side challenge, but spoiler alert, I kind of failed to get anything I like. We'll come back to that. Nursey's poison is just as much of an issue as Rompom's was, but a sleep toad gives me a handy opening.
So many sights left unseen.
And this time, Bresson has some bombs of his own, too. That's pretty neat, although the damage done seems identical to what my 2 bombs should have done alone, so that's a bit weird. Do cat bombs not count? I'm a bit out of practice, it seems, with Nursey, so the hunt takes a full 8 minutes. It really should not have. I should have cleaned this up way faster than that. Bit embarrassing. Gathering takes precedence over dancing this time. And then we get to meet Rove properly. And he's a chill guy. He's just a little chill guy. The journey continues, and a big flying leech shrimp decides to be annoying about everything, ever. Being the bold and brash monster hunters that we are, we run away and take cover in a cave. At least long enough for some character lore dumps and exposition to happen. And then I get bored and decide to, oh, I don't know, just do my whole last job of hunting monsters as a monster hunter to deal with the monsters that are halting our progress. I might just hunt them. Amazing. Beautiful.
Alma. Understood. Authorization granted to hunt the Hirabami.
Hirabami are not difficult, not in the slightest, but they are a very annoying fight, especially if you have a weapon with a very short reach. So that's how all this goes. Annoyingly. Also annoyingly, in all my annoyance, I forget again to take my action shot. I'll bloody come back to it later, alright? Kill, carve, dance, loot. I go to resupply and, uh-oh, those red boxes mean I've started to run dry of a couple of rather important shrooms. That's a problem. Got to do something about that before we move on. So, on with the gathering set, which has botanist to boost the harvest, and out we go. It has to be said at this point, I'm now, 7-ish hours into the run, and this is the first dedicated gathering I have had to do. Till now, just collecting whatever I can find on my way through the missions themselves, or as Monster's Zone, has been plenty to keep me topped up with enough mushrooms to carry a full stack of each every time I resupply. Which I was not expecting. Like I mentioned in the opening, I deliberately heavily farmed huge stacks of mushrooms using the late game material farm on my main character before I even bothered to build a Mushroomancer because I didn't want to deal with, constantly having to gather. I had expected this playthrough to stall out every, 4 or 5 hunts for a dedicated gathering session, but we're more than a dozen hunts in and I'm only just now needing to farm some resupply. So that was a pleasant surprise. Pretty neat. Anyway, I spent 45 minutes slowly pottering around 3 of the maps and ripping up as many shrooms as I could find. I grill up a fresh stack of steaks along the way and back to the missions. Meanwhile, Werner has fixed the big forge, or so he thinks.
Light it up! Good work!
We beckoned the fire spring with our own hands!
No!
What's happening?
You okay?
The great apes!
What is it?
They're here! Right outside!
But he fixed it way too good, and it made some monkeys mad, or something. Now, here is a very large mistake I just made. This hunt is unique. First, it has 2 monsters at once. Second, it has Olivia as a non-optional partner, but only for a little bit of the hunt. Thirdly, it's a Repel mission as you protect the village entrance. And lastly, as I will discover, Until you repel the Eradicate from the village entrance, you cannot fast travel back to camp. You can't even load the map. You can stab on the button as much as you like. The map never arrives. You must beat the monsters back or the entire mission just fails. So, what mistake did I make? Did you notice it yet? I'm still in my gathering set, not my proper combat armor, which they are both base level sets, so the defense is basically the same, but the gathering set does not have Mushroomancer on it, and I am only carrying mushrooms for healing and buffs in my pockets at this point. And my gathering set still has the base level Chupacabra weapon. So, bugger all damage output and no healing at all, but hey, if I play carefully, if I play wisely, I should be perfectly— oh, I'm dead. Turns out in all of my panic about my big mistake, someone— I'm not naming names— someone forgot about the blast status build-up from these bastards. Oh well, I think. At least with the mission failed, at least now I can switch out to my proper combat set. Oh no, I can't! The game resets you to the Repel, which means we don't start near a tent, and it means no fast travel, and I am locked in to my gathering set until I succeed at the Repel. Well then, challenge accepted. Now the panic has faded, I remember my nuts. I have some mite seeds, which I've been saving until now, as the nitro shroom buff has been all I needed if I wanted more attack power. And I have some adamant seeds for defense, also been saving those. And alright, I do have one healing item that I can use without Mushroommancer equipped. My steaks. They're slow to consume, but they will work. Right, I am locked in now. Never give up, never surrender. By Grapthar's hammer I shall avenge myself.
My path is righteous. I will not fail them.
Yeah, let's go! Yeah.
Tough it out. One of them's on the move. What's the plan? We give chase. It needs to be contained.
It is chaotic, it is merciless, but we get there. Now that the Repel has succeeded, the hunt becomes a regular hunt. Olivia peels off to take on one of the fire monkeys on her own. I chase down the other one, but now I can fast travel back to camp to get the right fit on.
What is that? Because it looks real useful.
Big Monkey's first zone goes into the slammer room, so I make a plan and set up a shock trap to lock him down long enough to trigger it for the big damage. And yes, I have bloody missed with this thing more often than not, so now I do it this way every time. Trap before bonk. He was a bit stubborn about being baited into the right spot, but after what felt like 700 little kunai into his bum, some big fat 603 damage, monkey boy. Eat that for breakfast. That did make him pretty cranky at me, but whatever. I tanked the puny god slam, and hey, did you know throwing knives in his eyes will not stop him from doing this? Now you do. Now I do too. And I chased him down to a new zone. Son comes in clutch with a shock trap. I punish. Now he's wearing out a bit and slowing down, so he's a lot more manageable. Not long now, surely. Oh, there's the drooling and the limping. Come on, big boy. Just fall. Olivia gets done with hers. Obviously, she got the small, easy one. So we chase down the big boy one last time. I nail a heavy blunt pod for a nice, sweet knockout to manage to proc paralysis just in time for the recovery. Olivia unloaded, and I desperately need to sharpen. One last rage mode. Big boy goes ham with everything he has left. Flash from the monkey bars gives us one last opening for a punish. Clash, and finally it's a big finish. Nope, it's a grab. Flash out of it and punish the down. Man, I love this fight. It is beautiful chaos.
Look, it's nearly done.
Of course, in all the excitement and thrill and panic, the action photo was, forgotten again. But I do rather like the posthumous one we got, so I think I'll keep that one. And finally, Dance for Dominance. Uh-oh. Back at the oil well basin, more monkey trouble. But it is a Japanese-made game, so here comes the tentacle abuse. We even get a Three Stooges moment. Everyone's pretty thrown by this, but the chief knows what up. Turns out he heard a story as a kid about a black flame, a legendary monster who quells the Great Forge. Okay, I'm going to go poke it with my big knife. The first part was pretty clumsy again, not really proud of the style I'm going with here, but I think I needed a break. By now I'd been at the game a solid 6 hours in this session, and I think my body was filling my coffee system with too much blood. Oh well, I'll take a break after this fight. Zoned, and he fought one of the monkeys that he either missed the first time or one that managed to escape earlier. I tried to do the cool exploding rock thing and hit the wrong monster with it. So back to stabbing until a grapple provided a photo opportunity, but I missed my chance. I'll try again later. I tricked him into a face bonk on the wall, ripped open 2 wounds, and punished one immediately with some Picasso brain surgery. The best kind of brain surgery. Second wound punished, and by now he was a bit tired of my shit, so chase down the zone, and I still haven't learned you cannot block the grabs. So stab, 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 and hope, and haha, beat it that time. Danger zone, but a wall-mounted heal bug right where I fell down, in for the win, except when I accidentally start gathering the oil at my feet. That's a problem. Man, I love this fight. The flailing, the unpredictable nature of this omnidirectional attack pattern, the sound design is exquisite. More cephalopods, please, Capcom. More octopuses. Yes, I know it's octopi, but octopuses is funner to say. I am, however, burning through my shrooms, so I switch to steak when I have the room and time to try and preserve whatever I have left. Zones, and my severed tentacle carve does not go as planned, thanks to an angry monkey boy nearby. rush to the local camp for a quick resupply and out again before our Regican re-engages. Just. And things get intense in the last zone. I'm taking enough damage to warrant 2 or even 3 shrooms to heal up from it. I try to ration and play smart. Press on in with a clutch heal and engage. We have to be close now, surely. Health management has become a bit of an issue. My chill mantle has run out and health is constantly ticking down thanks to environmental radiation. Awesome. And I'm out of shrooms again. But boom, one last desperate all for nothing and he is down. Carve the wrigglers and I get a rare drop. And just enough time to dance to my survival skills. Dead cephalopoid means working forge. For some reason. I'm sure that makes sense to somebody. But, you know, everyone's happy, so who cares? The rocks they make are pretty good rocks, and the hyper-emotionally sensitive and needy chick gets the father figure approval she has been craving.
You did well.
Look how happy she is just to be told she did a good job. And she even gets a big sister in for the bargain. Codependence issues? Nah, never heard of them. But Gemma seems happy, so I'm happy for her. Apparently she relates to this kid pretty strongly. I stare longingly at the twink for a second. I tried to flirt with Gemma, but get friend-zoned.
Another job well done. The heat was on, but you were blazing. Right back at you. Thanks, Hunter. You're a good friend. You're a good friend.
And I try to cover my embarrassment by asking her to make me an Ajero Saber. To try out blast damage on the sword and shield, always been one of my favourite status effects. Yet another meeting that could have been an email, but it does include an unnecessary but welcome high-angle camera for Gemma, for some reason. Back out into the world now, and we keep trying to find a path to Trauma Kid's old hometown. And we meet a pair of unusual-looking doshis along the way. I'm gonna poke it with my new sword. I like the Guardian fights. It's one of my favourite types of making variants of existing monsters. Doshi here is not much more than a tutorial for the change up in the mechanics of the white goop that we would come to know as Wilk. But it is a fun fight and an amazing looking location, so I enjoy myself. In any case, no real challenge here, but I do feel the need to buff up a bit on defense, attack and stamina shrooms because, well, he does hit hard and I get reckless. And I need to hit hard back. In fact, I even wind up reaching for one of my adamant seeds to get an even larger defense buff as I play with what I can and cannot tank block at this point. After a zone, 2 of them fight again, and I try to get my combat shot. Can't quite get the angle that I want, so I give up and return to the fight. All my block testing eventually procs a clash, love those, always fun, but it's almost over already, and at this point he zones yet again, and I chase him down for the finisher. Big frack you nearly cost me a cart, but I pull through thanks to that adamant seed defense, no doubt. Blast is proccing reasonably reliably, and I love seeing the burst explosions, but I'm not really convinced that it's enough of a difference maker at this point in the game over just going for something with a higher flat base damage. My mates are all curious about the albino bear, but it's time for lunch. Meat and cheese. Delicious. It's a classic. And the knuff cheese I was giving and what I bought at trade is lasting well. I'm not going through this nearly as fast as I thought I would. And off on the road again. Or, what's left of a road. It was probably a road at some point. Trauma Kid gets jazzed about a door he thinks he recognizes, and then a dude who recognizes him comes out of the door. Hooray! Happy endings for everyone. No, big, angry, pale Rathalos time. So, it's a game of playing human bait yet again to drag him away from the door, and then I get to do what I think is my very favorite Wrathy variation fight I have ever faced.
It's behaving as erratically as the Doshaguma.
And I am in trouble almost immediately. It's important to find your rhythm in this fight. If you get out of step, it can punish you big and repeatedly, at least for me. It takes me a few minutes to lock in properly again, but then I do eventually find my rhythm and it's smoother going. The zones, I top up with a steak to try and preserve my shrooms and re-engage. The big stomp almost KOs me. I run the wrong way to find the Vigor Wasp I know is on the field somewhere, so I go for the shroom instead and get roared out. Mild panic sets in. I zag direction, go for the shroom again, and this time I make it to the wasp for much less heal than I'd hoped for. I keep under the tail for a few spins, nearly slide out right into a fireball, but find the face, punish the wound, and zone. More steak to top up to full health bar and re-engage. I lose him behind my camera and get slammed for my trouble. Thanks, game. That was helpful. My Palico heal hits and is immediately negated with yet another slam. I go for the steak again. Flash for interrupt, punish the head, try to pile on some KO with shield bashes, and it gets wild for a bit. One more flash, good damage, but the tail does get me again. Wound pops and quick down. I get a flinch out of a frost pod somehow, and we're close now. We have to be close now, right? I hope we're close, because I'm now out of blue mushrooms for heals, so the last 3 steaks is all I have. I get desperate for a finisher now, and go in for a pop on a fireball initiation, and lose the race for who strikes first. Restock. Re-engage. I remember sneak attacks are a thing, and I go for it. Good punish, but he zones and a flash is too late to stop it. Block the stomp, punish the head, fireball, danger zoned. I am desperate for a wound pop at this point. A triple stab, it's not enough. But there's one on the leg, a tempered wound, not enough. Fireball, I go for the full up, too slow, punished for my audacity. Big trouble now. Find the space to heal, get smacked, chase the bastard in circles, and think about his misses a bit and how she likes to do this. Fireball close in to finish him off, and ba-bam! Man, I have had smoother Wrathy fights in my day, but a dub's a dub, right? I did, however, forget the photo. Again? But I do like the post-death one I got. He looks almost peaceful. I will get a better one later, though. So, Wyveria. Mysteries start unfolding, and lots of interesting lore and exposition happen. No, really, it is genuinely interesting lore and exposition. Very cool stuff, even the second time through. After the Wrathy experience, I decide early game blasts isn't that great. I swap out for the very last weapon upgrade I'll get to do this run. I go for the big flat damage spike of the plain old Iron Tree's Iron Beater 2. 160 raw, biggest on offer at this point in the game with this weapon, and will remain so until high rank. Plus, level 2 guard is pretty sweet, and I'll need it soon enough. It's probably going to come in pretty handy, I reckon. But I do need a light crystal for the crafts, so I need to explore. My mushroom stocks are holding out decently enough, but I'm still gathering at every opportunity, and this is a pretty good chance to get a few more as I hunt down the mining spots trying to get that light crystal to drop. It's a relatively rare drop, so it takes a few tries. But victory is always Stewie's, and I seriously do not stare at Gemma's glistening skin as she crafts my weapon. A blacksmith really should not have all that exposed skin, but I'm not going to tell her. Are you?
Perfection.
We discover the deep, dark secrets of the Keepers. Trauma Boy breaks down, again, because that's his whole thing. That's who he is. I mean, to be fair, he's what, 12, and he's seen some seriously messed up crap. You'd be Trauma Kid too. No time for group therapy though. Big Boy's back and he's lost his whole damn chill.
I thought they didn't need to eat.
He's gotta go. Glad I upgraded my weapon. That level 2 guard already coming in handy. The tight space here is making it hard to avoid damage, but I'm keeping on top of the heals. It's inelegant and clumsy, but I get the repel simply enough. Later, dude. We're not done. See you soon. One more lead to follow to yet another new village, and someone who just might have the final answers we need for, the MacGuffin plot, story stuff, whatever. New base camp, resupply, and we've unlocked decorations at last. Even get a freebie in the form of shockproof, which, because this is a solo run, is entirely useless to me. Again. But I do have a critical boost one for the weapon for my previous quest reward. And now that I finally found and downed Guardian Wrathy, yet another piece of my planned set comes together. The Guardian Rathalos Coil. Good defense, and a deco slot. And Intimidator, which is not all that helpful in combat, but is helpful for my photography mission, because it makes monsters want to leave me alone for a little bit longer. And as luck has it, I even have a Gobbler jewel already, and I really only need one level of it for mushroom use. So, slotting that in now frees up the talisman slot for something else. Recovery or Light Eater, I'm thinking. Free meal will help conserve the mushrooms, as I have been running out of them during a hunt a few times by now, because remember, they do only heal as much as a basic standard potion. So getting the occasional freebie would be useful, but I could also use recovery to make the blue mushrooms heal more for each one I eat. I'm going to go with recovery, but I decided to make both just in case I want to switch out. So for the recovery one, I need some Lalabarina florets. So here comes my second optional hunt. The first one we did for Rompom to get the photo. This one, I need mats. I bring NPC hunters this time to make it quick, and quick it was. Downed in a very relaxed 4 minutes. I craft the talisman and head out again to find some Talia scales, a small monster I can farm from another optional quest to slay 8 of them. It's over quickly, and I even had a real person join me on this one, first and last time in this run. Cheers, Sipati and your Palico Shadow Bounce. Talisman crafted. Another meeting. Can we stop having all these meetings, please? I just want to hunt. Come on. Anyway, we go off to find Rove because we need his advice. There's some decent collecting on the way. Rove is his usual enigmatic self and gives us some bad advice about a path we should follow.
Rushing out was with death. That what? Now was not the time.
So now I have to fight this big old bastard here. Olivia is pretty pissy about the whole thing. I don't think she likes Rove that much. So, time to face off against the physically biggest monster in the entire game. I stack my shroom buffs and I lean forward. I get him out almost immediately, which was a pleasant surprise, so I capitalize on opening up 2 wounds while my stamina lasted at least. Stamina, I now notice, that was draining because I had not picked up a friendly little bug to help me out. There should be a couple of them around here somewhere, but right now, well, there's work to be done. There it is, found it. Heat mantle bug saves my stamina drain, but the damage is already done there. We'll fix that soon enough. The fight goes slowly. For every engagement, I'm taking a knockdown. Eventually, I stack higher buffs with a might seed and an adamant seed, because this is exactly the kind of stuff I've been saving them for. A well done stake to fill the health and re-extend my crippled stamina bar, and I am back in business. He zones out, I find a new heat mantle bug to refresh the protection, and we get to work again. We chip away at him for a while, and I briefly forget how one of the mechanics works with old Jin. Tink, 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 dumbass. And then I find out I can fully tank his chest slam with ease thanks to guard level 2. Told you to be handy. Olivia jinxes me again.
Don't get hit now.
And her passive-aggressive BS cost me my 4th cart of the run. But I return, and the fight goes on. I remember how the mechanic works with the fins, and we do well.
Now that's how it's done. Guess you've danced with giant monsters before, huh? Down that easily.
One final zone, and here comes the big spectacle part. First, the spire climb, simple enough. 4 zerps and a yoink, and down he goes for the big punish. Olivia goes hard on the face like a good hammer user should. Be honest now, how many of you want Olivia to go hard on your face? And finally, there it is, the big drama music change. Yoink the boulder down and prepare for the one-hit killer nuke.
We need to take cover!
Easy peasy, you got nothing, mate. What do you got left now? All we have to do is carve out a victory-shaped hole in this bugger's ribcage. Olivia even scores an offset and the full punish. Classy. I tank one more slam, mildly shocked that my sharpness is holding up through it all. Another hammer offset. GG's Olivia, bringing your A game to the big fight. I tank one more ice blast, and with a final swipe at his mighty taint, he falls. Figuratively and literally.
Send it to the abyss.
You all right? By some miracle.
Oh, Truffle Shuffle goes for the full President of Hollywood style saves. Nice. Very dramatic, my feathery friend. We finally find the final village. I say g'day to some kind of mobilized bacon. The technology they have here is amazing. Imagine bacon that just walks to you. I have a chat with the Vulcan Elder for a massive exposition dump, and talisman upgrades are finally unlocked. So I pull that recovery charm up to level 2 to help my blue shrooms keep up with the big damage we've been taking lately. I tried a little melding, and hey, a recovery jewel. Nice. Also, a free meal jewel. I popped that one into the single free armor slot I have, and at level 1 it won't pop often, but it's always nice when it does, isn't it? So now I'm running level 3 recovery, level 3 mushroommancer, level 2 guard, and level 1 free meal, with a couple of extras along for the ride. Not too bad for what we're going for here. I meet a bloke who is so large if he lived in Australia his nickname would be Tiny. Trauma Kid has been unloading on my damn cat. Thanks for that, mate. And we all have a crazy nice looking dinner. And for dessert, well, of course, more lore dumping.
Let us eat.
Thank you.
So, we're off again for plot reasons and stuff to find Arkveld. Alma talks like she took a look at the script earlier than everyone else and is trying to pass it off as her being clever and good at her job.
So, what kind of monster do you think it could be?
Well, let's see. They would have a keen nose, enough mobility to navigate any terrain. It would maintain a broad territory and, by habit, pursue its prey relentlessly. At least, that's the sort of monster I'd put on guard.
And hello, the grouchiest puppy dog to ever puppy dog, Ebony Odogaron. Notorious for inflicting bleed status, although he has nothing on the latest addition to the game. Hello, title update 2. Hi, Steve. But when I first met the regular variety of Odogaron in World, I was, frankly, dead within a minute. It left an impression, and a scar that looks a lot like regret. He's zerpy, he's pouncy, he's all the things I always have trouble adapting to. A small, fast, pouncy, slashy, zerpy monster. But I have gotten better at him over time, so while the fight was a little slow, I was feeling in control pretty much the whole way through. No big surprises, no regrets. Second zone, and he double roared because he found a playmate. I whip out the camera and get a banger of a shot. Look at that drama. Awesome. He zones again, quickly this time, and I get a mount. Couldn't quite get 2 wounds before I get knocked off, but it was enough. Gets super zerpy here at the end, and I spend a lot of time just dodging and chasing him down, feeling a bit frustrated at it all, and he did get lucky at one point and almost put me out for good, but recovery was simple, and in the end, a spanked bottom finishes off the naughty puppy. Shout out to all the naughty puppies who enjoy a spanked bottom. The traditional dance of dominance took center stage, and a pair of Guardian Secrets seemed intrigued by my alluring dance. Turns out, though, it was just a clever girl moment. They were the distraction because one of their friends just bodied me mid-wriggle. Just disrespectful. Bastard.
Yeah. Let's return to camp. Good idea. We should take this with us. Okay, let's not waste time.
And surprise! It's a back-to-back hunt with no recovery or restock time. Hope you didn't burn through too many heals on the no-to-go run. Zuu hungers, and he will not wait.
It's eating it. I don't think that's a guardian. No, it feeds on them.
I start circling around, staking up to recover the health and stamina, secret sharpening, and now I'm ready to fight. I said it before, and I'll say it again now. I love the new cephalopoid monsters. I do hope we get more of them. They are so well done. Look at the way they move. It's gorgeous. But I do lose my rhythm a few times in, and for the first time ever, I discovered that this dude can eat you to death. So that was fun. We re-engage and I start playing a bit more defensively now, relying more heavily on blocking and looking for openings. It's funny really, this is genuinely my first time with a lot of these new monsters with a weapon that has block, because my whole first playthrough on my main save was with the switch axe, which has no block. It has an amazing offset, but no block of course. So, aside from being the best weapon choice for mushroom gobbling, it's been fun using a weapon that actually blocks and also has a short reach. And I do mean that without sarcasm, because one of the best things about Monster Hunter is how different fights can be depending on your weapon, and under that your build and your playstyle. There is so much variation in how you approach things depending on how you're set up. And no other game I've ever played does it quite as well as Monster Hunter. One final zone and we chase him back to the nest. Lots of wounds now and I continue to punish, feeling a lot more confident now about when I can and should block with this difficult to predict beastie and his sometimes odd attack timings. A lunge attack almost nails me, and then I use a wedge beetle for a death from above attack, hoping it would be a finisher, but I whiff it. The final blow is in fact unremarkable, but satisfying. Carve, dance, fall off the monster, dance again. I'm so goram elegant. Back to camp and Gemma has another gift for me. A mending mantle, a shockingly powerful bit of healing gear. It'll probably come in clutch in an emergency situation or two. Nice. We delve once more into the depths and find, well, a blood-soaked den of misery. But the blood is all blue guardian blood, so it's not nearly as horrifying as it might be. Turns out, Arkfeld has lost his whole damn mind and is hangry like no one has ever been hangry before. So, while Trauma Kid finds empathy for the monster that he once hated so much he tried to throw a small rock at it, now he's all like, nah, live and let live, I guess. He's just doing his thing. Let him do his thing. But I look him dead in the eye and tell him all about how we're going to carve out its brain to make a hat from its skull, stacking on one more layer of mental anguish, assuring the kid will never, ever be a healthy, functional adult.
For the continued preservation of this ecosystem, the Guild authorizes you to slay the Guardian Arkfeld. Acknowledged.
No, please! There has to be another way! It finally got its chance to live!
So now we lock in for the penultimate challenge of the base game story mode. And even though no one is looking, we still act like a Hollywood badass. Zero fear. Look at that swagger. Circle wide and refresh all my shroom buffs and settle in for a heck of a fight. Hey, I wonder if I can tank his big double slap. Oh yeah, I can. Oh mate, you're so cooked. You got nothing. Clash right off the bat, full style points, here we go. I give him a bloody nose and get repaid by a grab. I have regrets about my hubris. Also, I have a heavy blunt pod, so gob on that, you bastard. But a single misstep, my back turned the wrong way and it nearly does me in. Bresson is in on it instantly with the clutch heel. Love that cat. There's your decisive moment, Bresson. Only the photography nerds in the audience just smiled, or possibly rolled their eyes, but you know. All the blocking is great, I'm doing well, but man is it taking a fast misery to my sharpness. I'm going to need to find space to whip out the whetstone pretty soon, and oh hey, a zone! Perfect. And there's the rage, here comes the fun. Whoops, another grab, no pods this time. Stab for all you're worth. Nope, squished, but survived, barely. Sure hope that never happens again, he said foreshadowingly. I wait out the double slam and this time remember to punish it properly. Big scale shatter and a down. Nice. He's flailing wildly now. It's getting harder to find my target and the damn head rotting keeps getting me. Feel dumb for that. Come on. Second zone. Full in rage. Big dragon burst and I avoid it by hiding inside. Haha. I remember that trick. Now he's all erratic and everything is an AoE. Nope, another grab. And smoosh. Cat saved me a shroom top up and inside again through the dragon pulse, carving up that face and it's a down.
Power up, activated!
Then another grab. No smush this time. The stabbing works. Haha. But I need more breathing room. It's time for that mending mantle to show its stuff. Mount! Stamina shroom keeping me up there. Didn't quite get the double wounds though. inside for another Dragon Burst, nailing it. Coming in for some KO build-up on the head with some shield slams and another zone. This will be the last one, I'm sure of it. Second clash, and there it is. There's the call out for the skull time. This time I'm pushed too far out. I have to tank the full triple hit of the Dragon Burst. But with guard level 2, each burst only chips off about 5% health and twice that in stamina. That's impressive. I only got a whittle shield. Roared out of my shield slam. I hate that. So disappointing. And another grab. Flash pods this time. Are they enough? Yes, they're enough. Get flashbanged, you pale dork. More shield bashing on the head. Surely I'll get the stun soon, right? Face tank the chain slams, move in for punishment. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, it's another grab. I missed it with my last flash bomb. Now I'm in trouble again.
Look out!
Oh, that was a close one. I get my shrooms on one more time. Only 4 blue shrooms left at this point. I'm gonna have to end this pretty soon. 3 left now. I'm trying hard to stay inside and unload everything I can, but he's not making it easy. Man, I want that knockout, but he just will not go down. Another bloody grab, and jeez, I got nothing but stabs and hopes. They're not enough. No dice. Smooshed. Second to last blue shroom goes in my gob. And there is the last one. It's all or nothing now, kids. I got no heals left except for steak, but there's no time to gob a steak in this fight. I get cracked, but Brisson is in with the Vigorous for the rescue. Love that cat. One last desperate sacred shot and hoping for a full damage finisher real soon. I whiff the dismount, knock down, and close in for head damage and got him! Man, that was a fun fight. Ain't no one can say we both didn't give everything we had. Glorious action. And you're thinking, hey, you forgot your photo. No, this time I'd planned for a post-combat shot. There was a shot I had in mind and I lucked right out. He fell exactly how I hoped, framed by the darkness of the caves and the blood-stained walls. It was wonderful. I love this shot. Exactly what I had envisioned. Except for the photobomb by Brisson. But hey, that's cool. The cat deserves his props. Loves that cat. Purely it's his ass, though. Cat bum photobomb. Oh, come on. Trauma Boy sends thoughts and prayers to the slain psychopath, and we head back to the village of the Vulcans and one last lore dump. Trauma Boy has a crisis again, and we all set out to nuke the solution for the energy crisis. But first, snacks. Down, 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 deep we go.
We don't have to do this. There's one other option. by my own order. I will slay Zoshia.
One last uber Hollywood hero moment and we are away. Let's go. Pop all the shroom buffs I have and swing in for the big fight. Turns out I can tank the big splash pretty easily. That's promising. Terrain infection gets our first down, and it's going well so far, don't you think?
With the energy, now's our chance!
Alright then, it's real Hez exposed now and things start to ramp up. Welcome to the surface of the sun! Escaped the first shot with enough in for some chip damage and smashed those wings down. Oh, it's going so smoothly. What could possibly go wrong? I got a mount, which is a shock. I don't think I've ever mounted Zoshia before, but then Swax isn't an especially airborne option in this fight, so not terribly surprising, I guess. Stacking some wound damage now feels pretty good. Over to the naked head to pile on before he recrystallizes. Here it is. Here comes the big burst, the nuke. I mistime my positioning and pay for it hard. Fifth cart of the run. Will it be my last one? Let's find out. Restack my shrooms and re-engage. Head and wings are exposed now. God, this monster is so effing cool. I screw up the crystal bursts and roll my damn eyes with the whole game camera. Didn't realize I did that. Tank the fire burst. Not a super awesome plan, but got away with it for now. Cat clutch heal once more, but now is a super great time for some action photography, surely. Brave, not smart, but brave. Slicing pod right between the eyes did nothing, so that was upsetting. I was really hoping for a flinch there. Big slam shatters my heels, but he's locked down long enough for the heels. Ha ha! Homophonic fun. I'm in a bad place right now, but I just do not have the time or space to reposition, so tanking it is. Nope, bad plan. Boiled alive, sixth card of the run. Do or die time. It's now. Top up on all the shroom buffs one last time. Put on the serious face and in we go. Immediately get cooked again, but we're fine. We're really fine. Crystal shatter and the full horrible truth is finally revealed. The gloves are off, the world is a horror, and we are the last thing in this room standing between it and the obliteration of civilizations. Lock in. I circle wide, waiting for my opening, patient like a shark or possibly a mongoose of some kind. I chose the wrong moment.
Almost there!
I see wounds and I get greedy. The punishment is minor, but I get the message. This is the last cut, remember Blunty? Or Iris, whatever. Every move counts now. I see opportunity. The rocks. Go. No! Whiffed the damn rocks. My misery and shame knows no end. Oh no, oh no, 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 I can't be here. I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta bloody go! Oh, tail wound. Oh, tail chop. Yeah, baby. Confidence returns. No! Greed made me stay in too long. I was animation locked in when I should have been backstepping away. Is this the end of it all? Is this where we die? Skipping over dragon electricity to heal with my little blue shrooms, rolling to put out the fire that I am on. Meteor blast incoming. I circle around wide. I smash up that arm and it's a down. Now is my time. It's time to end it. Let's finish this. Head burst, chest burst, whiffed the shield bashes, tank the charge, roll out of the lightning, briefly consider a combat carve of that tail. The intrusive voice did not win today. Circle around the slams, rush in, burst that wing claw wound, and a finisher on the jaw. It's a knockout. I am victorious. It is down. It's done. I am the God King of Hunters. With nothing but a pocket full of mushrooms and seeds and base level armor on my back. Question answered. Yeah, it is totally possible to go full on raw foods mushroommancer maniac for the whole damn game. Or at least as soon as you can snuff down that first mushroom by killing the fart monkey. And before that, surviving on the basic potions you arrive with and whatever stems you can scrounge off the ground. All in, we got the job done in under 15 hours of gameplay, which, reminder, the base story mode in this game is basically just a super long tutorial and world building stage. The real game starts with Master Rank, which all unfolds after this. So it's not a 15-hour long game, it's a 15-hour long tutorial. And I guess if this video actually does well and doesn't, tank hard like I'm pretty much expecting it to, because it's a pretty damn long video and it's a long way from my usual content. But on the chance that people respond to this and it does well, I might have to continue this playthrough with this character in video form. But the only way you're going to see that happen is if this video is popular. So do the thumbs, leave a comment, spread it around, subscribe, do the bell, all of that kind of stuff. For now though, after the credits rolled, I went back and did some of the optional hunts for those monsters whose photos I missed. Told you I'd get back to them. And a couple I just wanted to redo. So as we fade out, here is the complete album of keepers of every monster we beat along the way. And a few portraits of my friends. Thanks for watching, thanks to the patrons. I am Blunty and I will catch you next time, and stick around to the very end for a look at what my final tally of mushrooms that I had remaining in my box was.
will to live always finds a way. From one generation to the next.